How do you follow all of this?
You can't.
I am the last speaker today. Please do not expect too much. You know, Toastmasters is a magical place, isn't it? The people that you meet here, and I'm being serious, are from all walks of life, all ages, races, creeds, languages, countries. That is what I love about it the most. And everybody's on the same level playing field. Can you stand up here and deliver? And that's what it's all about. You know, you meet a lot of interesting people here in Toastmasters, and one of the ones I met recently was Mr. Yuki Zhao. Yuki is so smart, and he wants everybody to know that. But he was not smart. He was not smart when he was a child. He was so dumb that he didn't know he was 12 until he was 14. You know, and unfortunately his parents didn't like him much either. In fact, they hated him so much, they hired another kid to play him in home movies. You know, and he's very thin now, but he was thinner when he was a kid. In fact, his teachers in school used to always mark him absent whether he was there or not. And you know, Chinese is a very tough language to learn. It has 250,000 words and not one of them are English. And Yuki, you got to answer this age-old question for me. I've always wondered this. Where do the Chinese go eat when they go out? You know, then we have our very prepared Toastmaster, Teresa Bay. It's not Mbe, it's Bay, correct? And she is from Africa. You know, Teresa, you don't know this, but we often make fun of you at Toastmasters. And the reason you don't know that is because we do it at the beginning of the meeting. And you know, Sean Tucker, I gotta love Sean because he's the only man in the room with less hair than me. And you know, unfortunately, a lot of Sean's videos don't come out very well because the sun shines off of his head and he whites out. And you know, Allie Richards, yes, I met Allie 4 years ago. She's an incredible salesperson and she's a lot of fun. But you know, I love all the women in this club, and I love the fact that we have a lot of women in this club. And back in the 60s, actually, women weren't allowed. It was a men's-only club. So, you know, I'm not sexist. I think men and women they have different strengths and weaknesses. Like, only a woman can simultaneously talk on the phone, do her makeup, hold a baby, and crash a car. And you know, Carson is one of my best friends in this club, absolutely. And this is a absolutely true story. I went on a trip to Chicago with him one time, and we were flying back. We sat down at our aisle, and he was at the window seat. There was a lady in between us, and I was on the aisle seat. And I was really, really tired, and Carson started talking to this lady. And I leaned over to her, and I said, "Ma'am, he has no off button." And I actually fell asleep, and when I woke up, guess what? He was still talking. You know, and Tim Linger, one of our favorite people in the club, he's the class clown, right? I remember one of the first times I saw you, you had the red nose on. I said, this guy must be a professional clown. And you know, at the party at Linda's house, they talked about somebody taking a shower, and it was Tim because he threw up all over himself again. All right. Mark Ehlers. Mark, what would this club be without a few lawyer jokes, right? So what is the difference between a lawyer and a liar?
What?
Only the pronunciation. What is the difference between God and a lawyer?
What?
God doesn't think he's a liar. And you know, Mark tells a story about him sleeping on a mattress one time. And how does an attorney sleep? He lies on one side, then he lies on the other side. And what is the difference between an accountant and a lawyer?
What?
The accountants know that they're boring. Carmelo, you got to say you love Carmelo. One of the most intense people in this club, but I will tell you this club would not be where it is without him holding all of us to the rules. He corrects me more than my spell checker in Microsoft Word. I spell so badly, my backspace key doesn't even say backspace anymore. And you know, I thought Carmelo was actually Puerto Rican. I thought I heard him say that one day. And I know that I know that Carlos is definitely Puerto Rican. And you know, I love Puerto Rican people. They can fix anything. My yard guy is Puerto Rican, and he can fix anything if he understands me. Like one time I said to him, you know, while you're here, my dishwasher doesn't work. And he said, okay, let me talk to her. And you know, Puerto Ricans are the hardest working people on the planet. Did you know the Puerto Ricans actually built the pyramids? You know how we know that? No permits. Jordan Kamaker. For the longest time, this is true, I thought his name was Gordon. I called him Gordon Kamaker. But that's a superhero. All right, Jordan has been a professor at Seminole State for 25 years. He's been there so long, when he first got there, they didn't teach history. They just called it current events. One day, Jordan came home and told his wife that he had received a chair endowment by the university. And she goes, endowed? You? Today, Jordan's students bring in homework papers that he knows were done in AI. But he gets them back. He lets AI grade them. And you know, Jordan always used to bring all this weird food into Toastmasters. Remember that? He was always bringing in food and eating here. And people don't know this, but he was a vegan for 2 years. And finally one day his wife said, you're not going to be a vegan anymore. But today, sometimes when she's not looking, he sneaks off and has vegetables. All right, that was supposed to be funny. All right. Jordan gives out kisses each week, you know, the little Hershey ones. And, you know, every week at least 2 people slap him. So Blake Smith, Blake and I have a lot in common. We're both Southerners. We come from the South, and the South is 2 syllables, and almost every word spoken in Southern language can be multiple syllables. I think Blake has eaten at every barbecue joint in the Mid-South. And this is a true story. Once I was in Memphis, and I took a he didn't even know I was on a trip. I took a picture of my food, and I sent it to him. He said the exact name of the city and the restaurant I was sitting at right there. Wow. So he definitely is eating in every barbecue place. And you know, like a lot of Southerners, we live in small towns, okay? And you know why in a small town you don't have to use a blinker when you're driving your car? Because everyone knows where you're going. And you lived in a small town that was so small, you couldn't buy a house unless you had exact change. And unfortunately, Ty Patton's not here today, but we all love Ty. He was an actual Vietnam veteran. He was actually in combat. He's the toughest guy I know. Once he told me, Tim, I've been shot at, I've been held hostage, and I've been poisoned. But you know, that's just marriage. And you know, as I say again, Toastmasters has meant a lot to me. I love all of you. It has been one of the funnest things I've ever done. And I want to thank someone very, very specifically today for my Toastmaster journey, and that is my beautiful wife, Carissa. She is here today, and she puts up, and everyone, how long have I been married?
42 years.
You know, and it never seems like 42 years, about 1/10 of the time. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, buddy.